What's up, Deadheads? It's Brian Castrillo, and I'm here with a review on a. You guys got Netflix, right? Have you guys seen All of Us Are Dead? Because I just finished watching that, and I just want to talk about it. There's only one season right now, but it looks like there's going to be a season two. And let's just talk about this as a zombie franchise. This is new. This is Korean art, and absolutely love what the stylistic. I guess art that they bring in the zombie genre. They're typically really creepy. There a lot of like hard, jarring movements from these zombies, and they're pretty badass. As like with in this season or this series, however far it goes, it's I. Let's talk about what they did good and what they kind of did bad. What was kind of weird. Now, as far as it is obviously English dubbed, and you can which isn't always the greatest. I mean, there's obviously deep fake stuff that they could have done, made it better. But you know what? Honestly, that is irrelevant, and that's not something I would actually critique on. And it honestly doesn't matter. I realize you're going from one language to another. It is what it is. So I don't feel that you can fault that whatsoever. But there's some weird things unless they're trying to rewrite, how the zombie genre is. There are some different things in here. Now, one of the things that I noticed, and I don't know if this was just sort of just they were in a rush to get this through and they didn't really, comb through the details, kind of like the Walking Dead is a little better at, or maybe this is just the direction that they wanted to go. But a lot of times when they're killing these zombies, it's not a brain shot. And many of them is just a whack on the head or an arrow through the chest or just what we've been accustomed to seeing as far as the zombie genre. It's definitely different. And I don't know if that is something, the style that they're going for, or it's just, an overlook, and maybe that's something that they'll get a little more focus on going on into the seasons going forward. But more specifically, there's a new type of zombie, which I felt that they did not do a good job at explaining how this happens. I didn't quite understand it, but let's talk about it. Now, just like with any other zombie, you get infected with their blood, their saliva, typically through a bite, and you start to turn. Now, in All of Us Are Dead, it's fairly quickly. It's not, for the most part, these zombies, they turn rather quick, and you see like hard, jarring movements, like, and it really creepy. Amazing at that. I actually like what they're doing with that. And these are very scary zombies. They're fast running, they're fast moving, which I think we might get that in The Walking Dead coming up. If you go to the season finale post-credit scene of The World Beyond, we may be getting those type of zombies there. But these ones are really creepy. Like I said, they turn rather quickly from a bite, or what I don't think they've showed at least someone dying from a non-zombie, unless I missed it, and then them turning, similar to what The Walking Dead is. It's already in you, and then you turn once you die. I don't think I saw that here, but basically, let's get into this now. The premise is you got this science teacher, and he is basically ground zero for this whole thing, and his son was being picked on. Like, they really focus on the bullies. A lot of really harsh bullying stuff. One girl was forced to like strip naked, and they were gonna post this to Facebook and there was a timer. It was gonna go off and it was gonna post whatever. And then this other kid, he was beaten up and picked on. So the beginning of this really focuses on bullies and just kind of how harsh they are to the kids, and and that's where I think they really did good, is kind of the human element. What what kids have to deal with as far as bullies, you know, emotions, emotional attachments, and just how us as humans would cope with this. I think they did a really good job at the different relationships within the series. But so this dad, he's creating this because he wants his son to be stronger. He's tired of him getting picked on and bullied, and he just wants more for his son. And as a dad, I feel that, but I don't know if I'd be going to the levels that this guy did. But ultimately, he did some experiment, and this is where I think they did kind of weird. It was weird. They didn't explain this, where so this kid was already previously injected with this stuff. It was supposed to so they took the elements of trying to think of what animal that was. I'm forgetting the animal, but where they were not afraid, and he took like those best parts and injected into his son. But he ended up dying. But there's scenes in this, and even throughout, where a human dies, and then they turn zombie, and then they're back talking again. But which they kind of, it becomes more of a thing as the series goes on. But they didn't really explain how this happens, like how one person will become these crazy flesh-eating zombies that have no mind control and just ravenous and just chasing everything that walks, to these other beings that are actually able to walk and talk and they still have their conscious, but they still have the desire to eat. They still they still think about eating human flesh. They still smell this. But as we learn, they're actually these subspecies within the zombie are more powerful. They're stronger. They're smarter. They can hear far away. They have a high sense of smell, and it's really neat as like some of these I guess more advanced zombies, if you want to call them that. It's almost like they have superhuman strength, like they're some sort of mutant. And it's really weird. Like when you're used to the zombie genre, this is this throws you aback, and this kind of takes you off guard, because this is not normal for once you turn to a zombie, you're not a conscious zombie. You're not, and we're not talking about just like one word. Like there's been other zombie. If you go old school, there's some zombie movies where they're the zombies kind of talk and through experimentations. But no, this is like basic human to human conversations, but they're more powerful. They have superhuman strength. They don't die. Now, typically, if a zombie actually dies, through the brain, whatever, they're not coming back. These superhuman zombies, whatever they are, they get thrown off roofs, bent in like a pretzel, and they just kind of fix themselves and they re-heal themselves like they're Wolverine. I don't know what's going on, but a lot of this was not explained, and that's where I think they kind of missed the mark at all. But it is kind of a neat concept. So it's almost like they're trying to rewrite the zombie genre, which is cool. The zombie genre does not have to stay in the same lane that it always had. Now, we're used to a certain way, and we're used to certain rules by in the horror or zombie genre, if you will, and these are not following those same rules. So they're telling a different tale and rewriting what zombies are like. But I do believe they did a great job at the human element and different relationships, and how the certain decisions might affect future relations and things that you may do going forward throughout this apocalypse. There was one scene that I thought was, I guess if you wanted to put the hero song behind it, it'd be a good one to use, but it was completely a ridiculous choice, and the scene didn't make sense. So basically, this is what's going on. Our group, they're trying to escape, and they're going through these tennis courts, and these zombies are coming all around. They bust through the first gate. There's gates on one side and gates on the other, and they bust through, and they're thinking that they're gonna go through there and go up this mountain to escape, which is fine. But then they close the door, and there's zombies that have just followed them, and they're trying to bust down that door to that gate. And then all of a sudden, on the other side, to the door that's not even opened yet, they have zombies coming through on that side. So now they're starting to get trapped. And then the gate that they came through, the zombies bust through that, and they're coming at them, and they have a decision to make. So the father figure, who had, he had escaped the military, and he's basically like a firefighter, EMT, like survivalist. Great character, and this scene kind of upset me, but so he has these these flares, and he gets them going, and he throws them, gets the zombies to go through there. They get the door open, the other side there, and this gate over here is still wide open, so zombies are coming in. And he's throwing flares, and he basically says, go, 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 and has, all the kids go through there. And it's a selfless act, no doubt, but he has them go through there when he could have easily went through there, because all the zombies were distracted by the flares, and they were over on, they basically following him. This door is still wide open, but what he does is he locks them out on this, this door over here, and just locks it, ties it as they go out, and says, and basically he's trying to give them time to get away. I get it, but it was unnecessary. It did not make sense, because the zombies were like literally on the other side of the court, and he could have went with them. There was no need for him to do that, but he did it anyways. And then of course that gate's still there, so zombies are coming. They eventually eat him, and he turns. But I thought that was a poorly did scene. They could have probably made it a little more tense, where they had seconds, but they had time. He could have got away. I thought that was probably the only scene I really didn't like. I thought it could have been done better, but it was a great selfless moment. But then eventually the military destroys the whole city, and this is in Korea, so it's I believe it's South Korea. I'm not 100% on that, but it's focusing on this one city, and which everything around it is quarantined, and they start they end up bombing the city to shut this down, and then at the end, and I'm going to come back to some other things that I thought were kind of neat within the series. So at the end, they go back for this one girl who was basically now she was a school president, and she was what they were calling half-bees, these zombies, mutants, whatever the hell they are, but they're superhuman strength. So they leave her, and they come back like after the city's bombed and everything, and they go see her, and they're talking about how they missed each other, which is cool. Keep in mind, these zombies or whatever they are, they still need flesh to eat, because what they were showing as through the series is that she started getting weak. Like, she was refusing to eat meat, but it was also weakening her, and she was having all these moments of weakness where she wanted to eat her friends. But they see her again, and she looks great again, and then they're on the top of a roof, and she literally jumps off like she's a damn mutant. I'm like, do we need to call Charles Xavier in here? Do we need to get the XMen and recruit these people? Because I don't know where they're going with this, but it's kind of an interesting thing, but they don't explain it at all, and that's where I kind of get lost on it. They did a great job at explaining how the initial apocalypse started, and what he did to create this virus. But as far as that, no. So they heavily hinted at there is a season 2. There's some characters that are out there that may possibly, I'm thinking that they survived, but one of the things they did before they, totally bombed the city is they were going around announcing far away, and this girl that I told you about, who is half and half, she heard that, and they were talking about how get underground, but they were involved in a fight scene. They basically were going to be two half-bees, whatever you want to call them, and they were fighting. They fell down this elevator shaft of this building that was being built. So I have a feeling they may be alive. We may see some other faces that may have survived the initial bombing, but again, the human element of this story was really good. Like when they were trying to evacuate the city and go into another city and let these people in, you have the people from the other city who are like, no, get them out of here, we don't want them, they're going to infect us. Basically human fear, and they're throwing eggs at them and whatnot, and rocks and different things, and so they showed like the human fear in that, which I thought was really interesting. Then you got a moment where art imitates life, and they're at this like military political thing, and they're talking about how they need to basically shut off all the cell phones, shut off the internet, because they want to stop fake news from getting out, and they want to protect how they look as far as politicians go, and they got to protect their image, so they got to shut down the fake news. Sounds a lot like what's going on right now in the real world. You have, our own president is having social media, censored at various points of views because it doesn't fall in line with his point of view, and they'll call it dangerous and fake news or whatever, and literally they they were saying that in this series, and they even mentioned COVID-19 and how and different other viruses throughout the world, and how like the different quarantine times that they had for them. I thought that was really interesting how you had art imitating life, literally what's going on. It's almost like they were kind of just showing what they're doing in today's reality, and how dangerous that could be. But I thought that was really interesting. But yeah, I definitely recommend seeing the series. It's on Netflix. If you have Netflix, it's all there. There's 12 episodes. Great series. Definitely recommend going to see it. You can watch it from the comfort of your home. If you like zombies, you love the zombie